Hello everybody and welcome to a small little video where I'm requesting your guys' input or feedback on a potential new series to the channel. So obviously you're watching me play Terraria in the background, and that's because we were doing a hardcore master mode Terraria playthrough, which basically means that if you die, you're dead forever. Like that character is gone, it deletes it, just like hardcore in Diablo or other games of the nature. So for me, I was really enjoying that series, but I had to take a break from it because we just got so busy like last November with trying to finish up the Outer Worlds and what we were doing in Baldur's Gate 3 and trying to get all that done before Cyberpunk came out and before we actually even knew that I was going to get access to the Diablo Immortal technical alpha. Now, obviously, there's going to be more of that stuff on the channel. We're going to have more Cyberpunk and Diablo Immortal and whatnot, and I think that's really exciting. But I am, at this point, going to return and finish that hardcore master mode series off, which means basically I'm going until I die, and I don't anticipate I'm going to be going much longer. I still have to kill Plantera, and then Golem is pretty easy after that, but then you have the Lunatic Cultist. That boss is pretty good. I should be able to do it just fine, but the thing that's going to happen after that are the pillars before the final boss, the Moonlord, which is just like an event thing. And even in practice, I just cannot seem to get through that without dying. So, basically what I'm doing in the background is playing Modded Terraria to just kind of grease the wheels a bit, right? Get myself back into practice. It's kind of like I'm warming up before I get back into a series that when I die, I am dead. So which by the way, if you haven't seen that series, you can go watch it on the channel and kind of catch up because it is coming back quite shortly. So for me, I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, trying to get comfortable playing the game again before we return to that. And what you're seeing is, again, Modded Terraria. So the question that I have for you, because this is something that I've been considering over the past couple days as I've been, playing around with Modded Terraria, is should I do a Modded Terraria series on the channel? Not hardcore. That actually would be crazy and ridiculous, but basically playing through, in this case, the Calamity mod, all the way through from start to finish, because it is really good. And actually, I guess I should back this up for a moment. And let me just say, for people who don't understand, you have basic Terraria that you could play through, which just got updated to 1.4, and that's what we've been playing on the channel previously, and it's a fantastic patch. But there's a thing called Tmod Loader, which you can get for free on Steam now, and as long as you have Terraria, you can download it and start playing modded immediately. The catch is that right now Tmod Loader is only updated to patch 1.3 of Terraria, meaning that if you want to play the best version of Terraria, you're playing the live version of the game that has been updated to 1.4. But if you want to play with mods, then you have to play 1.3. And it's kind of like a catch-22 because, obviously Terraria in 1.4 is freaking fantastic. But there's a lot of quality of life features missing that, they just kind of cause a little bit of friction when you've been playing it for so long in 1.4. And then you go back to playing 1.3 and you're like, why? So it is a catch-22 because, on the other hand, you have Modded Terraria, and mods are freaking amazing. So what does this mod in the background do? Well, it's called Calamity. There's other ones like it. It's basically a huge overhaul of the game. Adds countless items, like so many items and enemies and bosses and game mechanics. So Calamity, it adds this thing that basically focuses you in on one type of character. So either you're going to play melee or kind of a ranger, or you're going to play a mage or summoner, or the new one that Calamity adds is rogue, which you do a lot of like thrown weapon stuff. And it even has like a cool stealth mechanic, which is what I'm playing in the background. And it's that bar you can see underneath my characters. When that bar fills all the way up, your character goes stealth, and then the next attack you're going to take, now, enemies can still see you, but the next attack you're going to take has a pretty significant increase in in whatever that weapon does. So like maybe your weapon ricochets, well, when you make an attack from stealth, it's going to ricochet even more. So it's kind of this cool little mechanic that you're playing around with. On top of that, when you start Calamity, you have a bunch of stuff in your inventory, and you can basically set a dynamic difficulty. So the one that I'm running with, because I find it really cool, and there's no reason not to, especially if you've been playing 1.4 in Terraria and you've been playing Master Mode, which is running the Revengeance mode, which adds 2 bars. You can see it at the top of this screen. There's a rage bar and an adrenaline bar. Rage is kind of boring in my opinion, but the adrenaline is cool. So while you're fighting bosses, when you do not get hit for a lengthy period of time, your adrenaline bar is filling up. The moment you get hit, it drains. But as long as you're not getting hit during a boss fight, your adrenaline bar fills all the way up, and it makes like a little noise cue when it's full, and you hit a button and it gives you a massive damage boost for a few seconds, and you could just like rip through a boss's health bar. So it encourages you to play smart, where you're not getting hit and you're playing really, really well. And again, this is just one of many different mods that you can get in Modded Terraria. But this is the one that I'm considering playing on the channel, where we play through Calamity all the way through, non-hardcore, because that would be crazy. And the thing is, I feel like it would actually make me a significantly better player, because some of these modded bosses are cool, like really, really cool, and teach you so much better at the game of how to dodge projectiles and how to maneuver your character in better ways. And I think that that is really fun. So for me, I really want to get better at it, because I have a challenge for myself that I want to do, and maybe it'll pop up on the channel, which is to play the For the Worthy seed in 1.4. Now, For the Worthy is basically a secret seed that the developer added as kind of a fun challenge. It modifies all of like the standard bosses in the game to be different or harder or just more fun in some cases. It also does things like trees, when you're cutting them down, will randomly drop bombs and just kill you, and things do like significantly more damage. My challenge to myself is I want to do that and defeat it on hardcore. But I have a long ways to go to get better at Terraria before I can do that, right? So playing through Modded Terraria will, one, it will definitely help me get better at hardcore. So that way I can actually defeat hardcore maybe in a future series, because like I said before earlier, like I don't think I'm going to do it right now. When I get back to it, I think I'm going to eventually die when I get to the pillars, but I would like to do it. So like, I don't know. Is it worth it? Let me know. Should I do a modded Terraria series on the channel? If so, should it be Calamity? Or if you're familiar with the scene, are there any other mods that you're really interested in seeing? Because then I will go take a look. Like legitimately, any suggestion, I'll go take a look at it and see whether or not it will, you know, one, will make a good series, and two, I'm interested in it in the first place. And then, of course, the other question that I have is, if I do a Modded Terraria series, should I do it now or should I wait until Tmod Loader gets updated to 1.4? Because they are getting kind of close. And if that is the case, if Tmod Loader does get updated to 1.4 relatively soon and I start the Calamity series, I think I'm going to play through as a summoner, because I think the use of whips and stuff in 1.4 would make that playthrough really fun. And it might be pretty interesting, because you would just have like an army of stuff running around with you. And I think that looks cool. So just to recap again, should I play Modded Terraria? If yes, you know, are there any extra mods that you have ideas for? Should I wait till 1.4 gets released on Tmod Loader? And then the final thing is, if all of that goes to plan and I die in hardcore, should I retry the hardcore series once I'm like done with the modded stuff and see it, like if I've made significant progress in my actual gameplay skill? That's just kind of all the things that I have in mind now. But overall, I think that Modded Terraria is super, super cool for people who've never seen it. And I think, honestly, based on my own, like, I watch Terraria videos on YouTube. I think some of the people who do them are hyper interesting. But honestly, I don't see much modded stuff as much modded stuff as I would expect. So maybe there's a pretty good niche there. I don't know. We'll find out. Let me know in the comments. That's all I really wanted to do. I could have put this in the YouTube community posts, but honestly, while a bunch of people respond to those and see them, I don't think it's indicative of the large case viewership on the channel. And I know that you guys, for the most part, really liked the Hardcore Master Mode series. So it's like, well, I think there's an audience there, but whether or not there's an audience for modded is my question that I really need answered. With all of that being said, though, answer my question, please. Help me out here so I know what to do. And we shall see you guys next time.